Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
You can wait outside. Having Martin here alone will do, Nicole said softly. Once Jared had heard her words, he became concerned for a bit, but he left the room nonetheless. He then took a seat on the couch and gave Max a call. Inside the medical room, Martin looked at Nicole and softly said, "Take your hands off the wound, Nicole. Let me look at it." Upon hearing that, she slowly lifted her hands. The moment he saw that Nicole's face was perfectly fine, Martin was stunned. "Your face. Why did he said you're injured?" "Hush. Lower your voice. I'm putting up an act with Harvey, and Jared doesn't know about it." Nicole sat up, took a napkin, and wiped the liquid off her face. Martin glanced outside before walking up to her side and asked, "What the hell is going on?" "You'll find out soon enough. For now, you just need to help with getting this ruse going." Nicole shot Martin a glance before lying back down on the bed. Looking at Nicole, Martin said in defeat, "How do you want me to help?" "Make it as if I've been seriously injured, and do it in such a way that we can fool even Jared." Indeed, if the ruse could deceive Jared, it would also be clever enough to deceive Joyce, as well as others. This is quite a tough ask, I must say. Martin looked at Nicole in the eye and shot her a frown. "Don't worry. I believe that you'll be able to do it." Nicole gave Martin a look of confidence. She believed that Martin could definitely pull it off, as she could not find anyone who would be able to do this better than he could. "All right. I'll give it a try, I suppose," Martin said as he began planning his moves. After sitting in the living room for a period of time, Jared grew anxious. He walked into the medical room to peek in from outside, but unfortunately he could see nothing, so he muttered to himself, "What's taking them so long?" He hesitated a little before raising his hand and knocked on the door. "Martin, how's Nicole? Is she in any danger?" The instant Martin heard Jared's query, he asked Nicole, "What should I tell him?" "Just say that I'm in no danger, and please, ask him to calm down," she said as she looked back at him. Martin came to the door and opened it a little as he looked at Jared. "She's in no danger. You can rest easy. I'll be done soon enough." Jared snuck a peek through the gap of the door that Marin had left open, and only saw the edges of Nicole's shirt, frowning grimly as he looked at Martin. Her face. Martin could tell what Jared was implying, and he proceeded to give the latter a troubled look. "You'll find out once I'm done." He then closed the door. Looking at Martin's expression, Jared did not dare to think about what had occurred, but the more he did not wish to think about it, the more he did. Without being aware of it, he wandered back to the living room. Sitting down in a daze, he thought. If I had accompanied Nicole at that time, things wouldn't have been as bad as they are. 20 minutes later, the door opened from the inside as Martin helped Nicole out. The second Jared heard the sound of the door swinging open, he got up and made a beeline for the medical room, but as soon as he saw her, he halted, unable to proceed further. Her appearance had made his heart drop. His eyes widened in shock. How did it become so serious? "I'm so sorry. I did my best," Martin said, giving Jared a look of defeat and helplessness. Nicole was about to laugh when she saw Jared's expression, but to keep the ruse up, she could only stifle the urge to do so. Solemnly and slowly, he walked up to Nicole with a look of unmistakable pain on his face. "Does it hurt?" Nicole shook her head and remained silent. As she was already putting up an act, she had decided not to speak at all. Seeing that Nicole had not given Jared a reply, Martin responded in her stead, right after shooting her a glance. "It does hurt a little, but it's nothing too serious. I gave her the best medicines I've got, so the pain will be somewhat bearable." Jared gave Martin a glance and a slight nod. He was in a daze as he continued to look at Nicole. "Let's bring this conversation out of here," Martin said as the two men helped Nicole toward the couch. The trio then took their seats on the couch, with Nicole sandwiched in the middle. She shot him a glance and blinked. Jared did not understand what she had meant and turned to Martin. Martin immediately explained. "Oh," she said, "that there's no need to worry. She's fine." Jared looked at Martin with his brows raised. How the heck was he able to read that? I got it. Just relax and heal up. This wound is nothing. I'll hire the best doctors in the city to treat you. Jared turned around and comforted Nicole at once, intent on getting the best doctors to restore Nicole's visage. The instant Nicole heard that he wished to hire another doctor, she thought, won't my ruse be exposed? Then, she gave him another blink at once. What's the matter with her? Jared asked Martin, unable to understand her sudden blinking. Martin looked at everything that Nicole was doing, and as he thought about what Jared had said earlier, he explained, she's probably hinting to you that there's no need to get another doctor. I'm the most reliable doctor around, and she doesn't want treatment from anyone else. Jared took a deep breath and explained to Nicole, I know Martin's very skilled, but there are many other doctors abroad who are experts at what they do. They specialize in treating wounds like these. Besides, Martin is busy and won't be having much time. Jared, I no longer have to supervise the factory 24/7 already. Further still, with a wound like that, it is my duty to do my best to treat her, as a good friend of hers, Martin said as he gave Jared a look that brimmed with resolution. All right then. You must tell me if you need anything. Money is no object, so long as Nicole is healed. I'll leave it all under your care. Jared looked solemnly at Martin. Don't worry, Jared, I'll inform you if I ever need anything. Concurrently, Martin began to think, what should I do if Jared finds out that I'm colluding with Nicole in this ruse? Well then, should we arrange for Nicole to be hospitalized? Jared asked Martin. In response, Martin looked at Nicole and said, sure. Jared took his phone out at once and called Max. While Jared was busy in the midst of his call, Nicole shot Martin another glance. Nicole, let's just move right away. Jared said to Nicole, sounding distressed. Nicole blinked at Jared in agreement. He then helped her up as they walked out. Jared, I'll drive you to there, Martin offered, feeling that Jared would want to take care of Nicole at the back seat. All right, Jared said, before he and Nicole entered the back seat. Martin started the car and left his place as they headed for the hospital, and along the way, Jared would comfort Nicole from time to time. Does it hurt? Nicole shook her head. Martin snuck a glance at Jared through the rearview mirror as he drove. Soon after, they arrived at the hospital, and with Jared's help, Nicole slowly made her way into the hospital. As they passed through the crowded hall, many in the building began to cast curious glances at Nicole. Nicole looked around while pretending that she was not. This was what she wanted. The more people knew about it, the sooner the news would reach Joyce's ears. As they were bombarded with countless curious stares from the crowd, Jared, Nicole, and Martin got into the elevator and proceeded to the ward that had been arranged for her upstairs. After they had entered the room, Nicole slowly herself lay down on the sickbed with Jared's help while Martin stood at the edge of the bed, watching them. A nurse then walked in, saying, "You're here, Dr. Wyance." "Yes. She's my patient and I'll be in charge of her," Martin told the nurse. The nurse nodded in understanding as she grabbed a pen and wrote Martin's name on Nicole's patient ID, designating him as the attending physician, before placing it on the bed. "Medicate her using this prescription." Martin handed the prescription to the nurse. When the nurse took the prescription, she raised a brow in confusion. "Dr. Wyance. Just medicate her using the prescription I gave you." Martin shot her a glance, prompting her to leave without saying another word. "Jared, just stay here and accompany Nicole." "I'll head out for a bit," Martin said, and gave Nicole one last glance before exiting the room, leaving Jared and Nicole inside. Jared sat by Nicole's side and looked at her as he attempted to comfort her. "It'll get much better once the medicine is applied. Don't worry, you know how skilled Martin is. He will definitely patch you up." Nicole gave him a slight nod as she looked at him. She really could not bear to deceive him, but for the sake of her plans, she had to. Suddenly, Jared's phone rang and he let out a smile. It was a call from Max. He then picked up the phone and went to the window to answer it. Nicole looked at him, and after a while, after Jared was done talking on the phone, she blinked at him. "What's the matter? Feeling uncomfortable?" Jared immediately asked, anxious. Nicole continued to blink, and with Jared still unable to understand her, he was left panicked and confused. Seeing this, She could not help but issue an inward sigh. It was really not easy to communicate with him without Martin around. Suddenly, she thought of an idea. She motioned for him to hand his phone over to her, and proceeded to type a line of words on it before handing the phone back to Jared. "It's nothing major. I'm here with you," Jared said, finally understanding what Nicole was motioning at, and looked at her with a loving look on his face. It was then that Martin and the nurse walked in, with the nurse approaching Nicole to give her an injection. Before she was injected, Nicole quickly typed another message out to Jared. "I'm fine. I just need the injections for now. Don't worry, Martin's around. You have so much stuff to deal with back in the office, so please go back." Reluctant to leave her side, Jared said, "In that case, rest well and recover. I'll come to accompany you whenever I have the time." Nicole looked at Jared in the eyes and nodded. Jared then turned to Martin and said, "I'll leave Nicole to you. I'll have to excuse myself for now." "Yeah, sure." Martin then sent Jared off. A moment later, Martin returned to the ward and sauntered up to Nicole's bed. At this juncture, the two of them were the only ones left in the ward. Nicole then asked Martin, "What did you inject me with moments ago?" "Don't worry, it's just some nutrient solution. There will be no side effects." Martin looked at Nicole in the eyes and explained. "Okay. What do you plan to do next?" Martin asked. In response, Nicole closed her eyes, acting as if she was really catching some rest after sustaining a serious injury, and said, "I'll go with the flow. I plan to rest for a few days in the hospital and give those who aren't convinced of my injury some kind of proof." Martin displayed a slight frown. For a moment, he could not understand Nicole's intentions. There, once he noticed that her eyes were closed, he thought, it's best not to bother her with any more questions. She must have her own reasons for doing so. "Well, get your rest then. If there's anything else you need, you can call me anytime," Martin finished, and turned around to leave the room. "All right." Nicole then slept peacefully throughout the entire noon. Meanwhile, Jared had returned to his company, with Max already waiting for him in his office. "Tell me everything," Jared ordered as he walked in and took a seat on his chair. "From what we've gathered in our investigations, the Adam family are now linked to the McCarthy family through marriage. They've been expanding their sphere of influence wherever possible, and have been urging the McCarthys to do the same. The McCarthys have remained silent on this matter, however, and this has left members of the Adam family unhappy with them." Max looked at Jared and reported, "But wait, weren't they desperately clinging to the Adam family before this?" Jared asked as he could not help but think about the situation. Without the support of the Adam family, is it possible that the McCarthys have arrived at an impasse? Max asked in confusion. Jared turned to look at Max. What he said made sense. The McCarthys would not have been able to return if it wasn't for the Adam family. If that was not the case, they would not have dared step foot on the country to hold that ceremony for their forefathers. It is definitely possible that Joyce McCarthy was reluctant to help with the expansion of the Adam family business. Either that, or she couldn't find it in herself to let go of her past grudges. "Max, go ahead and expose Joyce McCarthy to the press for aiding the Adam family. Make sure that the Adam family are aware of the kind of person whom Joyce McCarthy is." Jared looked at Max and ordered, "Yes, sir." Max uttered, and he left to attend to his work immediately after. So long as the Adam family do not ditch the McCarthys, it'll be fairly easy for us to clean up after them, Jared thought as he gazed out of the window with a sneer on his lips. However, his train of thought was soon broken, as an assistant of his proceeded to barge in. "Mr. Johnston, the Fisher Group is going to hold a meeting on the green energy project this afternoon. Should I arrange to have you be present, or should I get someone attend on your behalf?" the assistant asked, looking at Jared with his brows furrowed. "Arrange for Mr. Allen to attend on my behalf. I have other matters to attend to this afternoon," Jared replied. Jared recalled the so-called good deed that Fiorella had done for him, and because of that, he wanted nothing to do with her anymore, at least not for a while. "All right. Here are 2 documents that will require your signature." The assistant placed the documents in front of Jared, who picked them up and perused them, before signing them and handing them back to the assistant. Place the less significant itineraries that I have on my schedule in the back burner, and have the important ones sent directly to my phone. Jared looked at the assistant and ordered, "Yes, sir. Do you have any other instructions?" The assistant stared at Jared, waiting for his orders. "Oh yeah, here's another thing. If Fiorella ever comes to see me, you must notify me in advance." "Yes, sir." "Off you go." Jared looked at the time. "Looks like I still have some time left before I have to head out to pick Nicole up." He then flipped through the files next to him and began to work. Abroad, Carl was still monitoring the situation at the beacon factory closely. Even though they had gotten into skirmishes with the Raven for the past week, most of his crew members were able to make speedy recoveries thanks to the supply of beacons provided by Nicole. "Continue guarding the entrances and exits. Report any oddities to me at once. Do you understand?" Carl looked at his subordinates and asked, "Understood." Carl went back to the main control room after patrolling around for an hour. He then picked his phone up and gave Nicole a call. "Carl, are you slacking off in the midst of a busy schedule?" Nicole asked jokingly. "How'd you know? Are you a mind reader of sorts?" Carl asked in astonishment. "Considering that you're able to give me a call, you must not be having anything urgent on your hands. Anyway, how's everything there? Are you okay?" Nicole asked with concern. "I'm holding up just fine. I've just had another confrontation with the Raven about a week ago, and fortunately, our men who've been injured were able to put the beacons that you've given us to good use. Their recoveries were fast, and they were able to get back into action soon after," Carl said, praising Nicole for her foresight. "Wow, I didn't expect the beacons to be of use that soon. The Raven seems to be quite conscientious." "Are you okay?" Nicole asked worriedly. "You know how I am. How are those thugs supposed to hurt me anyway?" Carl said confidently. "Don't get too cocky now. The Raven is pretty ruthless. I wouldn't advise being careless whenever you encounter them," Nicole said with a hint of concern in her voice. "Don't worry. I know how to take care of myself." Carl rolled his eyes. "She's thousands of miles away and yet she's keeping tabs on me. I heard that you've just used the beacon. Do you think there are any features that need to be improved upon?" Nicole asked. "I haven't discovered any problems with it yet," Carl recalled. "That's good. If you happen to find any defects in the future, let me know as soon as possible. It's best that others do not use them if they are," Nicole told Carl. "Yeah, I know. So, how's life back there?" Carl asked as he became concerned about Nicole's life. "When have you started caring about my life?" Nicole asked, finding herself caught off guard by the question. "I've been doing that for a while now. It's just that you've been too busy to pay attention," Carl explained proudly. "Really? I don't believe you." "All right, don't overthink it, and just answer me. How are you doing?" Carl asked her again. "I'm doing pretty well. There's nothing you need to worry about. It's not as dangerous here as it is over at your place. The sun is shining, and life is beautiful," Nicole said, describing her current condition. "Wow, I find that enviable. It would be great if I could live a life like yours." Carl closed his eyes and imagined the beautiful life that Nicole had described. But once she had heard Carl's statement, she fell silent. "Carl, after this mission is over, try and request for a transfer from Zane so that you can come over and protect me." "Protect you? Why would you require my protection? Aren't you a tough woman?" Carl asked with a look of surprise on his face, puzzled as he could not figure out why. Creases appeared on Nicole's forehead. "It seems that he didn't understand where I was coming from. Carl is still a young man, and yet, he has never gotten to enjoy a life of peace and beauty. After all, he has constantly been training and doing missions all over the world. It would be nice for him to just stop and take a break to explore the world in a different sort of way. Why should I come over to protect you? Is it because Jared has not been taking good care of you? If that's the case, I'll fly over and teach him a good lesson," Carl exclaimed, thinking that Nicole had not been treated well and threatened to stand up for her. "Keep your voice down. It's not what you think. Jared treats me very well. Anyway, just do as I say. Nicole said, not taking no for an answer. But, no buts. Are you turning your back on me now? Nicole questioned, her tone becoming stern. All right, chill. I'll do as you say. Carl quickly resigned. He too wished to stay by Nicole's side every day, for it was what he had long been yearning for. That's more like it. Well, I ought to go and catch some rest now. You can go back to work. Stay safe, and no matter what happens, please keep yourself protected first, Nicole sternly warned. She knew that he was more capable of defending himself, but she was worried about him nonetheless. I know. You should get some good rest now. I'll call you when I'm free. Carl bade her goodbye and hung up. Nicole then placed her phone down and looked up at her bag. It's almost finished. She pressed a button, prompting a nurse to strut in not long after. What do you need, Miss Riddle? The nurse asked as she looked at Nicole respectfully. The 4 drip is almost done. Help me get the needle out. Okay. The nurse quickly pulled the needle out for her. Is Martin still here? Nicole looked at the nurse and asked. Dr. Wyance received a call earlier and has left in a hurry. All right, thanks. No problem. Take care. The nurse smiled at Nicole and left. I wonder, what is it that had caused him to leave in a hurry? Nicole laid on the hospital bed and began to think. I guess I'll find out when he comes back later. Nicole then took her phone out and called Kelly. Why aren't you back yet, Miss Riddle? Are you okay? Kelly anxiously asked after noticing that Nicole had not been in the office for the entire afternoon. I'm fine. There's an issue abroad that I need to deal with, which is why I need you to keep an eye on the R&D lab. If there's anything you can't handle, give me a call and ask me, Nicole told Kelly over the phone. Okay. Don't worry, I will report to you if there's anything I need help with. Okay then, I'll hang up now. After hanging up, all of Nicole's worries slowly disappeared as her eyes slowly got heavier, whereupon she fell into a deep slumber. Martin did not return to the hospital until the evening, but Jared, who had come to visit her, had pushed the door to the ward open with a creak, and stepped inside. Noticing that Nicole was fast asleep, he gently walked over to her bedside and sat down. Then, he looked at the scar on Nicole's face. It's all my fault. Nicole woke up after a while, and saw Jared's face the moment she opened her eyes. Seeing that Jared was sitting at her bedside, she was about to open her mouth to ask him when she remembered that they were in the hospital. Once again, Nicole pretended that she was unable to speak and texted Jared. Why are you here so late? Nicole typed her message out on her phone and showed it to Jared. Seeing that you're here all alone, I can't help but to worry about you. I'll accompany you here tonight. Jared took his coat off and hung it aside. Nicole's eyes widened the moment she heard what he was intending to do. How does he even come up with the idea of staying here overnight? I can't keep pretending if he's going to do that. I must find a way to get him out of here. In response, Jared looked at her and asked, What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like this? I'm hungry. Okay, I'll get Claus to go and buy you some food and bring it over, Jared said as he took his phone out and called Claus. Nicole helplessly watched as Jared made the phone call. What should I do? I suddenly remembered that I have something very important to do. Can you bring my computer here? Nicole quickly typed on her phone and showed it to Jared. You're all injured. How can you think about work? Jared asked, his face brimming with disapproval and concern. My face may have been wounded, but my hands are fine. If you don't help me out, I'll have to go and get it myself. Nicole gestured as if to get out of bed, threatening Jared. Don't move. I'll go. Jared looked at Nicole, unable to disagree and resist her. But if I go back now, I might not be able to accompany you tonight. I can only bring the computer to you tomorrow. Jared felt a little disappointed at the thought that he could not stay with Nicole for the night. It's okay. I don't want you staying here with me anyway, or I won't be able to rest well. You should get some sleep at home, not here. Jared looked at Nicole. I know that her work is important, but it seems that she's just looking for an excuse to get me out of here so that I won't feel uncomfortable. There's no rush then. I'll go after you finish dinner. Jared looked at the time. Okay. Did Martin tell you when you will be able to speak? Jared asked, feeling that it would be too cumbersome for Nicole to type out her words whenever she wished to communicate. It should be soon. Do you feel weird that you can't hear my voice? Yeah, and if it's possible, I'd want to hear your voice right now. Jared looked at Nicole, expressing his wish. Nicole looked him in the eye and smiled, after which Claus knocked on the door and came in with a bag of takeaway in his hands. Mr. Johnson, I've brought you dinner, Claus said, looking at Jared. Bring it over. Jared raised the compartment table for Nicole, whereupon Claus placed the takeaway on the table in front of Nicole and respectfully left. Jared took the boxes of food out of the bag, before looking at Nicole and asking, "Which one would you like to eat first?" Nicole looked at what she wanted to eat, with Jared tracking her gaze. Then, he grabbed the dish she liked and fed it to her. Nicole opened her mouth slowly. This seems a little romantic. If I hadn't faked it, I wouldn't have come to know how sweet he can be. He instantly knew what I wanted just by looking me in the eye. Ah, he knows me too well. Jared was crestfallen, but for some reason, he felt that Nicole had been looking at him with soft, gentle eyes. This silly girl. She's gotten hurt so badly, and yet, she can find it in herself to care about these little things. Are you tired? Jared asked after he was done feeding Nicole. Nicole nodded and silently prayed that he would leave as soon as possible. I won't be able to pretend any longer if he keeps this up. You should get some rest then. I will get your computer and see you tomorrow. Try and have a good sleep tonight. Nicole nodded. Jared caressed Nicole's face, while his eyes were brimming with reluctance. Nicole's heart melted at the sight of his doting eyes. He has been treating me so well. Even after my face has become like this, he still treats me the same as before. He isn't disgusted by me at all. The original plan was to lure the perpetrator out, but I didn't expect him to care about me this much. It's really getting overwhelming. Nicole was struck with a pang of guilt when she saw how reluctant Jared was to leave. Maybe I should have told him the plan. That way, he wouldn't be as sad. But then again, Jared would behave too calmly, and because of that, we won't be able to fool anyone. Then, she closed her eyes and waited for time to pass. As night fell, a person came knocking on Joyce McCarthy's door and barged in hastily. Nicole was injured and hospitalized, Ms. Joe. The injury was very serious. It left her disfigured. Disfigured. The heavens must be on my side. Looks like the restaurant owner is reliable after all. Now that the girl has been disfigured, I'll have to see how she'll seduce other people. Is there anyone guarding her? Joyce looked at her aide with a glint of wickedness in her eye. Jared was there with her earlier, but he seemed to have left to get something. Joyce smirked at once. This opportunity is a gift from heaven. Send someone there. I think you know what to do. She lifted her hand and performed the cutthroat gesture. Her man immediately understood what she meant and was taken aback by the fact that Joyce wanted him to make an attempt on the woman's life. Yes, I know, he said, left with no choice but to follow along with the orders. Joyce then nodded and leaned back comfortably on the backrest. I have long waited for this day. So long as Nicole's not dead, there won't be a day when I will be able to sleep peacefully. It's only after she has been dealt with that the McCarthy family has been avenged. Nicole was lying on her bed with her eyes closed, waiting for someone. It was then that she heard a creak, followed by the sight of a man quietly opening the door and entering. Nicole did not move until the person had approached her. He produced a syringe from one of his pockets and was about to inject it into her foredrip when Nicole kicked him in the head. Suffering a heavy blow to the head, he staggered and fell onto the ground. You're finally here. Nicole sneered and sat up from the bed. The man was startled when he saw that Nicole could still move. All of a sudden, she leaped out of bed and grabbed him by the back of his collar, before shoving him with considerable force, causing him to fall to the ground again. The man was terrified. How is this even possible? No wonder Ms. Joe wanted to get rid of her. She's a living nightmare. The man was thinking of ways to escape when Nicole stomped on his chest, causing him to freeze and squirm. Let go of me," the man yelled, trying to thrash his way out of her grasp. "I thought she would come in person. I definitely wasn't expecting her to send someone over," Nicole quipped. "It seems to me that I've really overestimated Joyce McCarthy." The man under her feet attempted to sweep her leg off from under her in a hasty move, but she kicked his syringe away and proceeded to stomp on his other hand, crushing it hard under her heels. "Since Joyce had sent you here, you must be one of her most loyal lackeys. Well, don't think of going back to her anymore. You're staying here," Nicole sneered. "Keep dreaming," the man immediately retorted. However, as soon as he had uttered those words, the door of the ward suddenly swung open, revealing Martin, who soon walked in with a group of policemen. They then picked the man up and cuffed him. "Damn it, it was a trap," the man bellowed, feeling a mix of astonishment and fear. "This girl is so devious that Ms. Joe might not be her match." "Of course it's a trap. Do you really think I'm hurt?" Nicole sneered, her eyes dark and bloodthirsty. Martin shuddered the instant he noted Nicole's gaze. "Now I understand why she wanted me to fake her wounds. It was to lure them out. Take him away, and wait for his master to show up." As the man had been neutralized, Joyce McCarthy would definitely show up sooner or later. The man's eyes betrayed his sense of defeat and resignation. He could only allow himself to be dragged away by the police. Martin watched as the man was being taken away, and breathed a sigh of relief. "This feels way too satisfying. If I was late, what would have happened to you?" he asked. "Based on what you just saw, does it look like he'd be able to hurt me?" Nicole asked and flashed him a cheeky smile. Martin was left speechless for a moment there. It is no doubt that the average Jane wouldn't be able to do what she has done. "However, my goal has yet to be achieved. That perpetrator has yet to show up. I guess I have to wait until tomorrow." Nicole sighed, and proceeded to lie down in peace before yawning. Martin looked at Nicole and guessed, "Is the person you're referring to Joyce McCarthy?" Martin was aware that all the attempts on Nicole's life had all started following Joyce McCarthy's return to the country. Nicole nodded, knowing that Martin and Joyce were once good friends. "Why? Are you sad that you've had to part ways with her?" Nicole asked in a low voice. "What are you talking about? We've long become strangers." Martin immediately shook his head. He had already known the true colors of Joyce McCarthy, but what he did not expect was her unwillingness to let go of Nicole, and since then, he had found it hard to accept what she had done to Nicole. Why does she keep targeting Nicole? That's good. This time, I won't let her get away again. If someone like Joyce isn't brought to justice, Nicole would not stop, he thought. Yeah, I know it's because she despises you, Martin sighed, growing ever more worried about Nicole. It's okay, she said. I'm not afraid of anything she has to throw at me. Thank you for saving me today. You can go home and catch some rest. You still have work tomorrow. But what about you tonight? He asked. Don't jinx it. Her lackeys won't be able to make it back in time, and she won't be able to make another move against me for a while. Oh yeah, can you help spread the news for me? That you've caught the person who almost got me killed. Martin was taken aback for a moment, before registering Nicole's intentions. Yeah, sure, he murmured, nodding his head. Anyway, get some sleep. I'll be leaving now. Okay. Nicole nodded, rolling over, before finally falling asleep. Martin sighed, after which he turned around and left. As of now, his determination had become ever more evident. I must protect Nicole and prevent her from getting hurt again. Nicole woke up early in the morning to find that someone was staring at her. Without knowing it, she looked over and saw that Jared had arrived. Are you awake? The corner of Jared's lips lifted, but there were hints of suspicion in his eyes. Yeah, Nicole uttered weakly. You can talk now? Jared could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Nicole noted the look of distress on his face. He must be feeling stressed again. Then, she sighed and nodded. I'm fine. However, due to the fact that she had just woken up, Nicole's throat was a little parched. Seeing this, Jared immediately passed a glass of water to her. "Here, drink some. It will make you feel better." Nicole's heart warmed as she received the glass of water, after which she gulped it down. "Much better. This silly man actually had so much trust for me," Nicole thought. It had made her feel so bad for him that she did not have the heart to deceive him any longer. "That's great," Jared said, flooded with relief, but this did not last the moment he looked down. But why are there broken syringes on the ground? Although the room had been cleaned up, it was still quite messy. Jared could not help but cast his suspicions on all that had transpired last night. Shocked by the sight, she thought, "This fella, Jared, is rather observant. Indeed, it would be too hard for me to fool him completely." In fact, she was afraid that she would not have been able to keep the ruse up yesterday if he had not been this caring. "It's fine. The nurse accidentally shattered it when she was changing the medicines yesterday," Nicole said, causing him to let it slide. "Your throat has just healed. Just relax. Here, take your laptop." Nicole reached out to grab the laptop, after which she nodded in a display of gratitude. It was then that Max came into ward with their breakfast prepared. Jared motioned him to set it down, before picking a bowl of oatmeal up and feeding it to Nicole. Seeing the look of affection in his eyes, she could not help but lift her hand. "I'll do it myself." His enthusiasm was indeed on the verge of overwhelming her. Noticing her sense of discomfort, he did as he was told without another word. Then, he leaned forward and examined her face. "Does it still hurt?" Nicole gave him a sneaky glance, and with a hint of guilt and shame, she replied, "It's much better now." While the look on his face became more affectionate and meaningful to her, he did not offer her a forthcoming reply. "I will put all of my work aside for now to keep you company," he suddenly said, and Nicole froze. "What? Jared actually wants to keep me company?" she asked herself. In truth, Nicole no longer had a reason to make him leave. Noticing her silence, his eyes began to brim with curiosity. "Why? You don't seem keen with the idea of me staying." The look in his eyes made her feel as though she was sitting on pins and needles. Growing up, no one had ever exerted this much pressure on her. That was until Jared showed up and did the impossible. In the end, she sighed and said, "Whatever suits you. If you want to stay, by all means stay." As it was daytime, Joyce would probably not make a move, though the same could not be said for the night. Seeing that she was still withholding information from him, he simply nodded his head. "All right." After that, he ate breakfast with Nicole, and though she was initially relaxed, his calm and collected demeanor managed to irritate her again. "Does this guy know something?" she thought, without uttering another word out loud. After he was done with his breakfast, he laid down on the couch with both of his legs crossed while scrolling through his phone. Nicole went on to observe Jared's mannerism, which seemed to indicate that he wanted to hunker down for the entire day, causing her to issue a silent sigh deep within. Is he really that free? Nicole thought. "I'm fine, actually. Things should be pretty busy back in the company. I don't want you to waste too much of your time on me." Nicole began persuading him to leave. Jared gave her a glance, and all of a sudden, he said, "No business is more important than you." And this time, he meant what he said.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.